Welcome, everyone, to Insight Meditation Community of Charlotte. We have more blankets if you need one, or if you want to, I don't know, put your coat back on. I'm good. So, let's just kind of like take a little stretch. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Good. Welcome. Maybe just look around and kind of smile, especially new faces. Yeah, we had some newbies tonight. Well, I'm going to now give us the talk for the first meeting of the year. No pressure, right? So, here we are, 2024. So I'm happy to see that you all are here. You're showing up for peace in the new year to take care of yourselves and community. And I'll just say that I thought long and hard about what I was going to talk about tonight and switched around quite a bit. And I came up with something new and fresh and exciting and really quite fascinating. And just, it's only 2,500 years old. And it's called meditation. So, and that involves suffering and its end. And it turns out that like that is really all there is to teach. But it all boils back down. But I thought for the new year, let's see what the Buddha taught and if it's helpful. Look at some of what he taught and see if it's helpful. Yet again. So I want you to breathe, relax, be in your body, and don't worry about what is going to be said. Just if you need it, you'll have it. But I want you to imagine living your most contented life with less worry, less anxiety, open to more possibilities, more courage to love, and let yourself be loved. Just imagine seeing more clearly your mind's habits of thinking that hold you back, and being more open to ways of thinking that bring you more freedom, bring more freedom to your heart and mind. We all have unexamined views and ideas that stop us from doing things and trying things. A new year finds many of us wanting to establish healthier habits, right? Exercise, eating better, and of course, starting or strengthening a daily meditation practice. Just guessing. So hold on. When we hone our mindfulness skill that we're going to be talking about, to observe our thoughts without having to believe them, our fears of failure, especially, can be one of the first things to go. So whatever has like stopped you from doing whatever, notice when we shine that light of mindfulness, awareness on the habits of our mind that stop us, that block us. So of all the topics, I chose, I kept coming back to meditation. Imagine that. Because it's so important. It's just so, it's central, it's the foundation, and it's the key to our wising up, to our living more skillfully and more happily. So to calm the mind and heart and then have insight, that's what we are That's what we're after. So in order to see our thoughts, to see what the habits of our mind, it has to be calm. And then we can have insight. So whether you've been at it for decades or you're new, we're going to refresh, okay, reestablish or our practice or start a new one. And all of it to support our well-being in every day of 2024 and beyond. So it's good to stop and think about why we meditate. We've done this recently. And some of the things that pop up is just for less stress, right? So we want to get in touch with our motivation. Anybody want less stress? To get more grounded and calm before we go into that life, that world. To expand our mind and heart beyond our small world. These are just some things that popped up for me to get unstuck in your habitual patterns of thought. To establish being your own friend versus your worst critic. That's a biggie. That your inner talk is really on your side, really supportive. To be less reactive to what is occurring and more responsive. So this, in a nutshell, this is from an anonymous person, but I committed it to memory when I saw it a couple of years ago. I meditate so that my mind cannot complicate my life. So it turns out that what complicates our life, it's always going to be complicated outside, in circumstantial world. There's always something going on. But we can learn to not complicate our own minds through the practice. So Thanissaro Bhikkhu is the abbot of Metta Monastery in LA. And he says, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm there. He says, true happiness comes from training the mind, because the mind is what makes the choices. That's why we meditate. And that's why meditation requires that we focus our attention on the present moment, because these choices are being made right now. The choice to continue to be stressed or to learn to let it go. Okay? Some of you might be, kind of surprised that you kept choice. We have choice, but not until we're aware of what the mind is serving up or the heart serving up. Before then, we're just caught up. We're in it. So remember that the word suffering and stress can be interchangeable. So I'm going to use the traditional translation of suffering, but you can just turn it into the word stress. But just in case you think that you don't suffer, let's check with that, okay? So remember, pain is inevitable. It's part of life. We're going to have, loss and all kinds of, we'll go over that. But suffering is what we add on. So the Buddha, and we're going to unpack this again in a few minutes, but he identified 3 kinds of suffering. And that's basic, which is physical and emotional suffering. We all know what that is. Constant change, that nothing stays. Everything's constantly flux and flow. We can't get a hold. We can't get anything to stay, especially our emotions and thoughts. And then the third is the insubstantive nature of changing conditions in our, what we identify as us, as me and mine. So this is a quote from Philip Moffat. What the Buddha is pointing to is that suffering is an experience of the mind. He's not offering you relief from pain. He's offering you relief from the extra mental reactivity that causes your misery. Again, there'll be pain in our lives, our own experiences of loss, insecurity, loneliness, and for some, poverty, violence, racism. You know, we could spend the whole evening listing the pain of life, you know, and also witnessing pain, witnessing the pain of people displaced from climate disasters, used to be called natural disasters, war zones, just reading about, you know, my heart has been so heavy around thinking of children of the world, you know, they're in these war zones. Political divisiveness, you know, again, I don't have to unpack that too much. But let's unpack this, the three ways that we stress, that we add on to the pain of life. So if we can just experience the ups and downs of what, you know, the challenges in our lives without adding on, it's called the second arrow, or the stories, or the drama, you know, that's how we really move into suffering. So physical discomfort, think of from a stubbed toe to lack of sleep, to hunger, to, you know, some people with chronic disease, and, you know, emotional pain is part of this first one. So when you become frustrated, and this is Philip Moffat now, when you become frustrated that things don't go your way, or upset about life's injustices, or worried about money or meeting others' expectations, each day you have many experiences that cause you to be disappointed, anxious, and tense, from getting stuck in traffic to forgetting to do something, to snapping at a loved one during an argument. He says, isn't it true in matters of love, family, work, and self-acceptance, do you not experience these sorts of negative emotions over and over again? So one of the first steps on this path is to accept that you suffer, that you experience daily stress and suffering. Once we get that, once we accept that, then we can start to see it and start to stop trying to, you know, adding to it. Stop adding to it. Number two is the constant change. Happy moments come and we can't hang on to them, can we? They go. We distract ourselves, but the weight of responsibility is still there. Constant flux brings confusion, stress, and mental fatigue. Life is constantly changing. It's an impersonal, universal truth of life. Not even the wealthiest, wisest, the most powerful get to be an exception. Furthermore, every day, even during the pleasant moments, do you not experience an underlying unease around the future? This worry and anxiety is a manifestation of the third type of suffering, life's inherent unsatisfactoriness due to its insubstantial compositional nature. It's a lot of big words, but let me explain. Each moment arises due to certain conditions, and then it just disappears. There's not a lasting or substantial there in daily life. Thus, it's often described as being like a dream. This dukkha is the existential type. Why are we here? What's it about? And you know, how do I stop identifying like it's me and mine? It's just so life's challenging. It's enough of that. I don't have to convince us any more of that. So Munidra was a teacher of many of our late teachers in our tradition, Joseph Goldstein, Jack Kornfield, Sharon Salzberg, and I love his statement, kind of nutshell statement. If you want to suffer less, sit down and look at your mind. That's it. So how? Let's talk a little bit more about mindfulness. And so it's a window, a way to observe the activity of the mind without judgment, but with acceptance. The first step is really accepting, okay, that has arisen, that's there. And with kindness. We want to see the arisings in the mind without preference. So it doesn't matter if you sit and your mind is wild. That's okay. It's just a wild mind. That's your meditation. So you can call meditation or mindfulness practice starting over practice, because that's what you're doing. You're starting again, this breath, this moment. And guess what? The only moment that you can experience ease and peace and contentment is in the present. So don't we want to become more familiar, more comfortable, more kind of satisfied with the present moment? This is a good time for me to share a quote by Pema Chodron that I really like. She says, one of the deepest habitual patterns that we have is the feeling that the present moment is not good enough. And I've said many times Thich Nhat Hanh's phrase that we are in this incessant rush to the future, aren't we? So much. Because this can't be good enough, right? So it's a truly powerful thing to be able to notice the habits of our mind without buying in. We learn we don't have to believe all our thoughts. It's pretty powerful when we really start to get that and start to be able to observe and go, oh, it's just restless mind, comparing mind, judging mind. It's that. It's not, I am doing this. I am that. So how does this work with meditation on the breath? You might wonder. Okay. So we underestimate the power of breath meditation, breath observation. So the moment of turning our attention to the sensation of the in-breath or the out-breath, in that moment, you've accomplished a powerful choice. The choice to let go of thinking. That's a leap of faith. In that moment, when you have turned your attention to this breath, you have made a powerful choice. In that moment, when you're aware of your breath, you're not in thinking, you're not lost in thought, you're not in really negative suffering. Being present for this breath begins the process of calming the nervous system. So breath awareness, no matter how many times you have to come back over and over and over again, you find that your nervous system calms down. Your mind calms down. You become more aware of what is arising in your mind and more able to make choices. So Larry Rosenberg says, all day long, ask yourself, am I suffering now? Am I stressed now? And if you notice, and you can sometimes notice from some constriction in your body or some kind of unease in you, so or maybe even a negative emotion, that's arisen. And you stop, what am I reaching for or pushing away? That's the cause of the suffering. We want it to be different. We want to grasp, we want to cling to something that's not the case. So can I befriend this moment? Can I ride the waves of this sadness or this despair? Because it's, guess what? It's changing. It's changing every moment. So key thing, don't identify with it. There's anxiety. Okay, it's not, oh, there I am. I'm that anxious one. Allow it just to be anxiety. There it is. Allow it to be disappointment. There it is. It's okay. It's not staying. And allow the pleasures, the joys, the wonderful pleasures of life, but know that they're not staying. Okay, and it's okay. So that's how we can get a steadiness. That's how we can become more stable, concentrated, more at ease in our day-to-day life by becoming more aware. How do we become more aware? Through meditation practice. And so just like in meditation practice, when you miss several breaths, I don't know how many, maybe a minute or two, or maybe several minutes of breathing, you didn't see it. You don't go, oh, forget it. I'm not gonna meditate for this. I'm just gonna get up and leave. You stick it, you stay. You stay with it and you show back up for this breath. You start again, you start again. Same thing with starting a meditation practice or deepening your meditation practice, strengthening it, spending a little more time with it. So we're going to miss a day here and there, no problem. But when we miss a day, no problem, start again. Don't identify with, there I am again, made the resolution, didn't stick. No, you don't do that with your breath. There I did again. Wasn't aware of those breaths. It's okay. If you can take the words, it's okay, all day long, give yourself a break, be kind to yourself, start again, relax, and enjoy the ride. And it's that old, I guess it's, oh dear, I used to always know the name of this yogi. He was a Swami, is it Swami Vivekananda? I think it is. On a surfboard, there's this famous poster, and it's, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. So that's what we're doing here. We're learning to surf. We're learning to relax and just be here for the ride. Thank you so much for your kind attention.